was in animal rescue with mainly dogs and cat cruelty investigative work for several years with our Humane Society. Then Skip and I met. We took some wildlife rehab classes, and that's really what got us started. We were just into, doing wildlife rehab, where we had baby squirrels and baby possums, and when they're orphaned, and we raise them to release them. And Skip wanted to do raptors, so we took classes and did internships at the Raptor Center in Huntersville, and we started doing raptors as well. But in the process of that, we worked a hotline where people would call in, and I found this bunny, or I found this whatever. But there were so many calls that came in that we have this exotic animal that there's nowhere for it to go. Even animal control would call us and say, we've taken in or confiscated these animals, and it was not dog and cat animals, so that where would they go? So Skip and I started taking some of them into our home, and in that process we were kind of transmuting into a new era of life, and we decided to sell what we had, which was a beach house, and we lived in a lake house. So we sold those two properties. We had a couple of businesses that we were running, so we're kind of entrepreneurs from the heart. But so we sold everything. We bought 24 acres here in Georgetown. We spent 5 years coming back and forth from North Carolina to South Carolina trying to find just the right property. When we got to this property, it just felt right. So we ended up getting 24 acres here, and then we bought Sweetie's Candy Store because we still have, living expenses of our own. And in 6 years now, this place, SC Cares, has operated solely on donations, on people giving, the volunteers coming to help take care of the animals. We moved here with 36 animals, and those were from parrots to prairie dogs to the iguanas, one snake, and some of the dogs that we would call it our personal dogs, because we don't do dog rescue, but of course we love all animals, so it's, so we moved here with 36 animals. In this last 6 years, we are up to 166. The sad part is I keep a log of the calls that we receive and the animals that need placement, and unfortunately there are over 400 in the last 6 years that we've had to turn away. We've tried to help. We've tried not to be, we love them all, so it's not a specific, oh, well, if it's a parrot or if it's a wolf, or it's whatever we were able to help at the time we got the call. And if we could do it, we did. And, we have to think about what's going to be too overwhelming. And even now, if I didn't have the volunteer help that come out, I don't think I could do this for very long and continue. My body's just aging, and it's not going to keep going forever. Normally this is a non-stop day. Well, actually we don't start as early as people think. I get up at 6, but I do computer work for about 2 hours, bookkeeping and answering emails and trying to connect, networking on Facebook, with SC Cares. And then we start feeding about 9. We finally finish daytime stuff, which is just it's not even a deep cleaning on things, but just the cleaning that has to be done daily and all the feeding. And that's about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then by 3 o'clock we normally start back on evening feeding, which is over between 5 and 6. So by then, at 6 o'clock or so, the day is done. It's worthwhile, it's fulfilling. Star is a good example of one of the happy times that we are able to take this animal in that we know for a fact would have been euthanized because she's a wolf, and there just aren't a lot of exotic rescues out there, and we've even tried to connect with some as we've gotten these calls for the animals that we couldn't take, and tried to connect the people so that they can check out the place. I don't want to, if I haven't been there, it's hard for me to say, well, it's a good place, or that's why I like people to come here so they can see this place, they can feel it, and they can see the animals and fall in love with them like we have, and that way they can support it from their heart, and they're not, they don't have doubts about these pseudo sanctuaries that people have opened. It's hard because, you want the best for them. None of them should be here, actually. I mean, I hate to get on that subject, but, it's like they're all native to somewhere. We call exotics are creatures that aren't native to our area that we live in. But it's no different than if people in Australia, somebody came from Australia and captured robins and cardinals and took them to Australia and started bringing them, selling them as pets. That's what's happened in all these cases. The tortoises should be in Africa. Most of the parrots should either be in the Amazon or in Australia. I mean, so, and I try to give that information out on these tours that we have, and try to educate people that these animals are here because of the pet industry that and it's a money-making thing, and I understand that people want to do it to make money. It's a profit, but it's not fair to the creatures. We have 18 active volunteers now, and after 6 years we've actually gone through several, people that have come out, and it is work, it's hard, and that's why I tell them parrots are one that they may choose a parrot they want to bond with, but the parrots actually choose the people. So you can't really, you might say you want to work with certain animals, and hopefully you can if that's your desire, but out here it may be that another animal chooses you and monopolizes your time. So, but the volunteers come out, and the ones that have stayed with us are the ones that have bonded with these animals. Otherwise you come out and it's work that you're not getting paid for. It's a commitment, and we appreciate the people that do continue to come out each week. That some of them come once a week, or half a day, or a whole day, or whatever it is, and I mean, it's just a tremendous help, and we still need more. We need more people to do hands-on animal care, and then we also need people to help with, off-site events like programs that we do, or fundraising, or, there's all sorts of ways people can help. We do tours by appointment. It usually takes about, and depending on how much information I'm talking and giving out for the day. I try to keep it to about an hour and a half to sometimes up to 2 hours. It depends on how excited people are, because the more questions they ask, the more involved I get with talking with them about each of the animals and their stories. And but when they come out, we normally start with the tortoises. We do the outside portion of the tour first. So if we're going to get hot and sweaty, then we go in the hut and the air condition. It's a little better. But and we have the horses that are here, the wolves. We have wolf hybrids that are barn animals. We have pigs and cows and goats and chickens and deer. That deer aren't barn animals, but non-releasable deer. We have 3 of those guys that couldn't be released to the wild. All of the wildlife work that we do, we try to release anything and everything we can, because that's where they're meant to be. And we also have a llama who seems to get a lot of attention. People seem to like him. And then we go in the hut, and we have parrots in there. We have actually 55 parrots that live here, believe it or not. But people don't think that a little parakeet's considered a parrot, but it is. So we have parakeets all the way up to macaws, and all the birds in between. They're medium-sized birds, So, and then we have some small mammals, our rabbits, and then sugar gliders, chinchilla, 2 non-releasable possums that came in. It's just such a wide array of animals that live here, that we've just tried to help what we can as we could do it. We really need people to help us somehow, either just to pass things on, get the word out about us, and I'd love for people to come out here and validate this place for themselves so that they can feel good if they can give and they want to do that. Just to, I guess, I know that there are lots of dog and cat shelters, and I know that they're always full, and my heart goes out to all those animals as well. But there are even fewer of these with farm animals and exotics and non-releasable wildlife. And we've just tried to help fill in, a spot that was missing, that there was just nowhere for these creatures to go. We just want the community and people all around the nation to become more involved with a place like ours, or hopefully our place, and help this place grow to the point that we can keep going, and it'll be sustainable for the future for these animals. So that's all, really.